Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Banerjee Talk Show. Today, on my show, I have Sudeepta Banerjee, who has been a leader at Kingfisher Airlines USA, Indo American Arts Council, New York, United Nations Youth Development Program, and Cry America, and was the only Indian to perform in the 60th anniversary celebrations of the United Nations. Well, Sudeepta, welcome to the talk show.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
Well, Sudeepta, I was going through your website, and
Mm.
with the last interaction we had,
Mhm.
I see that you are someone who's looking into the youth development, something that our teenage folks could look up to.
Correct. Yeah.
I'm very much fascinated by this, your company name that says Race to Pie. I want to know one thing, how did you come up with the name? And second thing, what do you do with this organization?
Everyone knows that pi is a very important number, right?
Yes.
And I think the people who are geeks or, people who very few people would know that it's one of the most irrational numbers. Okay. The
Right.
property of pi is that it's very irrational. And this is the story. When we say raise to pi, we say that it's okay, raise to irrationality, because all your dreams are considered irrational till you realize it, right? But if you
Right.
take charge and if you take charge of fulfilling your own dreams, then the same people, and this has happened with me, this comes with mine and my co founder Chalam's personal experiences in life. That when we thought of something, we were called, that, oh, you're being so irrational, or in other words, nutcase and whatnot, right? But
Right.
when we proved and when we realized those dreams, the same people today are, they consider us as advisors. They are sending their kids to us for advice. So, the whole scenario changed, right? The equations changed. So that's where the name raised to pi comes from.
So I also want to understand one thing. Like,
Mhm.
the name sounds very interesting, and I got the idea. How and what does Race to Pi do, and how can it help youth today?
So see, it comes from mine and Chalam's years of experience. Like you can say, almost now 17 years of experience we both have had. He comes from the corporate side of it. I come from the youth development side of it, right? So what we have seen is, on one side, I was actually seeing in the working in the youth development space very hands-on at a ground level, that we are doing so many skill development things with youth. But despite of that, when they go for internships or when they go for job interview, they're not able to, really go with that confidence that they should. And hence, many times this is happening, that they are not getting that dream job that they really want. And they are going for or settling down for something which is average, which they don't want to settle down, right?
Right.
And on the other end, what's happening in corporate is, and this data is out there on the internet, just look up like a Business Insider article, and you will see that 63% of corporates are dealing with talent crunch. So, on one side, our youth is either unemployed or not finding the right job and are settling down for less than what they desire. And on the other side, corporates are not finding the right people. So this is something very weird. Both these cannot happen. One of this
Right.
scenario is understandable, but when in a country both the scenarios are playing, then there is definitely something wrong with the way we are equipping the youth for future. So what
Right.
we do in Raise to Pi is that we realized, and our market research says this, that, and it comes from again mine and Chalam's experience, that when you work on something hands on, I know that curriculum is important, grades are important, but when you're working on something, a project very hands on, you manage that project end to end. The way, the confidence, like your critical thinking, creative thinking, communication, stakeholder management, project management, you learn everything. And when you add that to your resume and when you walk into the interview, you work with a different confidence, different level of confidence. And then the interview, the table turns toward the students. Because the moment the interviewer are asking, they're asking that, tell me something about yourself. And the student says, I am very passionate about this and I've worked on this very interesting project. And this is what I did. then the entire conversation changes, right?
Right.
And the tables are turned. And we are trying to give that confidence to students that take charge, be more confident and have those experience in your resume before you go for your first interview. That changes the equation.
Well, it does. I do remember one incident that happened when I had applied to one of the India's biggest IT companies,
Mm-hmm.
and I come from the English literature background, so I had done with my
Mm-hmm.
masters, and I applied
Mm-hmm.
for a post of a technical writing with them because that was the only thing available. And when I went there, they just gave me a proposition to work in one of their BPO segments.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to tell them literally, look, boss, I am not a fresher just out of college looking out for a no,
Mm-hmm.
job to make quick income. I have a
Mm-hmm.
career. So they said, you can also send emails from the BPO side. And I thought, this is not the right platform for me. And I had
Yes.
to
Mm-hmm.
quit that. I had to say no to that, option what they gave me. I
Mm-hmm.
think many of us, like I have seen many of these engineering folks who have come out, they join
Mm-hmm.
top IT companies and they end up working for their BPO.
Yes.
Because as you
Yes.
said, there's no proper career guidance because
Mm-hmm.
even in top engineering colleges over
Mm-hmm.
here in Bangalore,
Mm-hmm.
you give a guarantee saying that you'll get a job posting and
Mm-hmm.
you just get a random job over there. And
Means,
the corporate
uh,
companies make them sit on the bench for a year or so.
yes. Correct.
By the time they're out, they have lost that 1 years of hands-on experience what they would have got. I think
Mm.
the platform what you are creating is something very is a need of the hour, I guess, because there are a lot of
Yeah.
engineering students, a lot of students that come out and they end up with doing all weird types of jobs here.
Yeah, and they don't enjoy it, and hence they are not happy.
True.
And that shows in their, future promotions, their future growth. And when they don't grow, then that unhappiness multiplies, right? And the
Right.
impact on their life is not good. It's actually pretty negative. In fact, what I feel is that we should really make the students dangerous. And I won't agree that dangerous is a bad word here. So he's just a graduate, but you were, right? Because you had certain experiences that brought that thing out, right? You knew that you have better options. You knew that you can do well. You were confident. So this is exactly what we are trying to give to the youth through these, projects that we are getting from sectors of tomorrow. We are not getting projects from the, big companies of the world. We are getting projects from futuristic sectors like fashion tech, environment technology,
Right.
conservation tech, these kind of things, right? And this gives them a sneak peek into that what the world is going to be, and you can work in that. So their confidence level becomes very different before and after the project, and that's what we are trying to create. So you get that. Means I think your example was spot on.
Right. Well, Sudeepta, let me get a little personal over here. I just want to know who inspires you. Like, do you have any idols whom you look up to? You wake up and you feel like, oh, wow, I have to do something for them. Like, anyone that inspires you.
Yeah, I don't know if it is fortunately or unfortunately, but it's not someone really big. Means it's someone my own aunt. Like she was a single working woman in that generation when with a PhD in math and teaching in a college. And the reason why she could never got married is because she was too educated for that generation, for a woman.
Right.
And she didn't give a damn about it. And she stayed alone all her life. She taught. She loved math. She kept working on that thing. And today also at the age of like 75, she's an extremely happy soul. She changed her entire career after retirement. Now she's a writer. She's writing books. She's publishing books, and she's pretty well known in the Bengali literature circle. So I see her and I see how happy she is despite of not having a family. Nothing, because she has always figured out what her passion is and she has worked towards her passion, right? She's someone who greatly inspires me. I do look up to her.
Well, that's wonderful. I always believe, inspirations can come from anyone. And,
Mm,
moment you feel someone is bringing a change and,
mm.
you feel connected with it. And I hope our listeners would also feel connected when they when they listen to this podcast. My
Yeah, I hope
last
so.
question for you, my
Mm.
last question for you would be, what are your future plans with Race to Pi?
I want to, make as many students possible confident, right? And make them dangerous. I may want them to go for interviews being so dangerous that people can't refuse them. That's my goal.
Well, that's something good. And I hope you have all your success going forward on this project.
Yeah, thanks, Bernard.
And listeners, if you have any queries for Sudeepta, you can feel free to drop me a text. You can tweet me. And I hope Sudeepta would be very happy to respond to all your queries.
Definitely. Sure.
And also do check out her website. That's race to
Yeah.
python. And I would also share the links in this podcast so you can have a look at it when you're free. All right, then, Sudeepta, thank you so much for giving out your time here. And I hope Race to Pi crosses boundaries ahead.
Thanks, Bernard. Thanks so much for having me. Thank you. Bye.